Hey everyone, Rock99, and welcome back to another discussion video. This time we're going to talk about the Dark Side Phil, DSP, Phil Burnell, and his vest streak, and his gold, and his Vestival that he's been having for about a while now. And I decided to change it up and do some new gameplay footage that I decided to record. This is actually a game I just got last week. Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth. This is my first Digimon game, so I'm learning the ropes as I go. I just started chapter 1, and my character Hamako is just trying to look for the pieces of her body right now. And, well, you don't know that, but she does start to look for a piece of her body at the time. It's a start to make progress of how I play the game, and I'm pretty much at the end of this part of this little piece. I just finished up the first, I finally got the Digimon on my party. I'm doing pretty good, but enough about that. If I want to talk games, I'll talk games at some point. But here we're going to talk about DSP and his vest goal, his Vestival, his vest streak, and how it has, in some sense of the term, really been a, how do I put this bluntly? It has really become the more of how much Phil has literally lost all sense of some sight of idea of humanity, and now has become the very thing that he mocks and criticizes others being. But I digress, so let's begin. Now, if you're pretty much, new to everything that's been happening to the whole DSP sphere, I can understand. It has been pretty boring. Thanks to Phil kind of getting a lot of some of the detractors, so unable to stream live restream for a while. This kind of made phase very boring for everybody. So now pretty much just some people over here just wanna hang it up until they can be able to restream again, or just kind of not do it anymore. Currently Tevin's still doing it. Agent Proper is keeping up with his daily gnosis, which I do recommend for kind of if you want to keep up a day to day of everything that happens and kind of give you a small bite-sized chunk of what happened while he works on his primers, which are pretty good at kind of going back in time. And right now everyone's kind of going back to their own thing right now. LSB just working on his stuff for his channel, which is just, if I'm correct on it, he's currently just playing 3 Houses, he's playing Tyrannia. He doesn't kind of join anything. He still does updates and keeps up with DSP stuff, but since he can't do weekly DSPs anymore, he's just kind of going back to some sense of, hey, I don't have to worry about this stuff anymore. I'm just gonna focus on, my channel and my content. This is the first time in a very long time. So, what is the vest streak, for those who probably wonder? Well, first, it all started with one of his retrospective where fans saw Phil have used the word vest back in the day. So he took out an old vest he used to wear, which I really do hope has been washed, because I doubt it. And he decides to start putting on a vest. And then now it started this. If he hits $100, he will then put on the vest as a celebration, which then is some kind of, it's, as we all have commented, it's not kind of a double standard hypocritical thing he's doing. Because Phil always keeps bringing up other streamers that, they do gimmicks, they do kind of stuff, like they dye their hair, and they do all the stuff for the camera, but he doesn't do all that. Yeah, he overacts in the camera, he actually puts on weird clothes. I mean, he only wears his gamer shirt because he wants to say he's a gamer. He acts like a clown, he has like a Muppet, which he comments on other people doing. The only thing he hasn't done is dye his hair, but considering that he's not doing anything to make himself look healthy, he's gonna lose his hair, and yet he blames his headset for all that, when really he doesn't have white hairs, he's losing hair, and he doesn't not do anything about it. I don't even know how he even has a hairdresser, apparently, but he's looking like he does doing it for his hairdresser, not doing anything. I think when he finds a haircut, he's probably going up there, helping the hairdresser clip one hair, and that's it. I don't know who said it, but I think it was James Lester who said it. I think so, but I'm not sure. I'll have to ask him on that one. I'm actually followed by 2 Detractors who I am reading their content, so I'll ask them on their input on this one. So he starts to do so after that retrospective, which by the way they're boring because all he really does is look back at his own content, which is kind of weird how now Phil has essentially become the reactionary content, where he reacts to his own content. So he doesn't want to do that for other stuff, but he's okay to react to his own content. Basically double dipping on a channel he doesn't care about. He still whines about old YouTube and doesn't like the new YouTube because he can't profit off the new YouTube as he could before, outside of just pushing all his archives onto DSP Gaming. And that's kind of interests me. People can go on and on about why his channel failed, but I feel we're all pretty much just said what we've all been thinking for the past couple of months on the subject, and I feel repeating it will be kind of no point, if you know what I mean. Let's see. So after that retrospective, he starts putting the $100 vest streak, and if he gets $100, he will put on a vest as celebration. And how does Phil look with a vest? If you want my honest opinion, he looks like and Bart, and I hate myself for saying this, he looks like a special needs. He looks like a special needs patient, the kind that have to sit in the back of the bus. And I hate myself for saying that because I actually did ride in short buses. I took special needs courses back in the day. We all did who had special needs. There's nothing wrong with that. I hate when I said it because it's insulting because I used to be in that. And the reason I took those buses because a lot of my classmates and people who I knew, all of them had wheelchairs. That's why I was in those buses. That's why we had those buses, because those kids we always ride with, most of them were wheelchair bound. That's why you always see, that's the short buses, people. Those are the buses that mostly have wheelchairs. And now, yes, we make jokes about his fan base being wheelchairs, but it's because we think they are, and we wouldn't be saying that if their mental state was not questionable. Oh boy, I got a long video, so this is gonna be a lot to recap. There's a reason why I recorded 47 minutes of Cyber Sleuth. I might split this into 2 parts, so there might be a second half at some point, but who knows when I'll do it. I probably am going to split it in part and I will probably talk an aftermath of how do I think the best goal is going to end, on when it will end. And I think that's something that's always a thing about it, is that he just looks like a tool. He looks like that. This is kind of where he now is just reduced to doing this just for $100, and this is what his fans get. They get, instead of an hour, something that's almost worthwhile, they just get Phil and the best. If that... Sorry, I'm kind of just woke up. I'm still kind of sluggish as always. I have coffee. I have some coffee, so I get a little bit of energy in me. And if you're kind of wondering what kind of coffee I take, I'll give you a hint. Watch the Hi-Am Daisy Persona 4 and you'll get the reference to this one. I take cream and sugar. Sorry. Not unlike Phil's wife, I don't like it black. What's the double entendre on my part because I am. Yeah, you'd be surprised. Wait, you're black? Yeah. You don't let Phil know that. And now what I got a little comment out of the way, let's get this fucking started about this death streak. So, what is this? As I mentioned, that Phil looks like a goddamn tool in this death. He just he keeps on, as you can see how desperate he is at keeping this death streak going, because it's the one thing that's been working that actually makes fruit. And what they just do is that he makes it a big deal, like he makes it a big deal of getting the vest, which I don't know why he doesn't keep the vest closer to him. And you can always tell that beige vest of his has probably not been washed, because he did say there was cat hair on it, so Jasper's been on it. So who knows what kind of debris is on that. Now, I would like to wear a vest, but I would probably be a very short sleeve, be a very like, not a poofy vest, one you wear like in the winter, but be kind of one of those vests that you would wear like in the summer, but like not too hot. I don't know, but I think I just want more of a light jacket. I have like winter jacket. I have jackets you wear in the winter, but never one you would wear in the spring. I know. Weird, but yes. But this is kind of what they get for getting $100 for a gold. It's just him wearing a vest. And that's it. They get nothing out of this. And I'll get to the Vestival soon, but we're starting from the beginning, so give me about like what, 5 minutes or so till I get there. So bear in mind. I might have to see how I might have to put a post. I might have put a timestamp post this video to kind of trace where I was in this conversation. So, I would say from the timestamp, wait about maybe like a couple minutes when I'm done talking about the best goal. But I will talk about each of what's he doing for these best goals. Or why he did that streak. We'll get to them as we'll get to this discussion. So, now also the other thing he does when he gets 200 is that he puts on these gunner glasses. Not his glasses that he should be wearing to see, especially if he plays video games. He puts on these silly looking shades, which makes him look more of an old man. And if he has glasses, why does he not wear them? He would probably improve his eyesight better. He's just sitting there looking like he's just looking more like an old man, wearing his safety vest, wearing his safety glasses, and wearing these gamer shirts to try to emulate being a gamer. When the last time Phil ever probably felt the joys of video games was probably back in the 80s. Because Phil wants, everything to be back the way it was. Because, he's on talk about the Wild West of YouTube. And he's still complaining about YouTube right now. So, that's a good idea on what's going on now. Of him kind of complaining about YouTube and stuff. But I digress on that. We'll get to that when I get to that. So, and I guess what I'm trying to think of is what else he did. Now, it starts to kind of, every day he starts getting a vest. He's redirects, he gets new vest, he gets 100, puts on the vest, gets 100, puts on the vest. And, you know, he again looks like a complete clown in this. Which is hilarious how he talks about others. And I think it's a how much that he's just reducing himself to this, like, he hates his job, but he's not doing anything to stop it. All because of him is easy money that he gets, but this is all he gets out of it. He has no enjoyment, he has nothing to strive for. Now he is essentially just going by paycheck to paycheck, being paid money to put on a vest. Which is sad. Like, this is what he's reduced to. A clown. He's reduced to becoming more of a clown every day. And I guess the thing I think I remember the most about these Vestivals, before I get to the Vestivals, is that how much he keeps on pressuring his fans to hit it. But still, he's not doing anything with his vest. He just puts on a vest and just sits there looking more miserable than ever. I think that's the sad part, is that this is what he's reduced to. This has been his biggest moneymaker so far this year. Now, if you kept up with a lot of DSP lore, he had that whole bankruptcy, which he got approved, and yeah, he treats that as a win. There's been the whole WWE Champions. Sorry, that lip smack there. Oh, and Lightside Paul. It's hard to say what just happened. Like, he was an okay person until he's like, oh, if you go after Leanna, I'm gonna dox you. I'm gonna have your doxes. I'm gonna dox you, have them leaked. And then he just nuked his whole Twitter after that. So I don't think anyone. If you wanna update on that one, ask Dante Crisis or anyone who's talked about it. I have no idea myself. I'm confused. That was the most weirdest event that just happened. And I don't know, and I guess you can say this is not the first time we see a detractor kind of self-implode itself. Let me get my coffee, cause let me grab my coffee, take a sip a bit. I'm gonna mute the mic for a bit so I can drink some coffee, cause I need a little bit of energy for this, because this is gonna be a long discussion. So I might not even put it 2 parts. There we go. If you're curious about the coffee, nothing special. It's just the coffee you kind of get at Dollar Tree. I have some fresh vanilla creamer and sugar. It's pretty good. Though I think I'm more a fan of like flavored coffee. If you want my preference. If you want that's my preference. I would so more enjoy. I like kind of flavored coffee because they're pretty good. And yeah, I do like and also I have pumpkin spice. It's not that bad. So I guess we'll talk about the first Vestival, I guess it was. No, when he reached 50 best streaks. When he reached his 50 best streaks, I think, no, it was 100 best streaks. But then there was a time where it should have ended because Phil cannot math. But I'll get to that when I get to that. The thing that happened because Phil can't math is when I'll get to that point. But what happened was, or how more of these best streaks happens, that he starts this week he was making money from, he keep reaching the goal. And now the thing is, he kind of reaches these goals during his free streams, during gameplay, his night streams. So he makes like 200 about 200 to 400 a month, about a week. So he makes about a lot. And yet he says he's broke. But we can say this all, but we've all confirmed this all just going to WWE Champions. So it's safe to say Phil is just using this as a way to get more money so he can try to act all big on WWE Champions because that's the only thing he has left for him. It's the only community where he actually feels like he's winning something. And if that's gambling, then that's kind of pathetic and sad and disappointing, but this is Phil we're talking about, so yes. So was it the 50? No. Let's see. Oh, yeah, it was a 50 best streak. So the first, the first 50 best streak was, Phil had one of his pay pigs, that anonymous I think it was, make a video that had all the times that Phil, put on the vest. And in the classic DSP, item, or stupidity I guess you can say, instead of, he played the video on the stream, and then he clips it from his pre-stream of his stream with that video, and yet he gives that video a standing ovation. And Phil has that weird way of clapping, which I don't get, and I don't understand it. And he gives that whole video a standing ovation for nothing. So that's kind of where we are with that one, the 50. Now, it should have stopped it about around the 70 mark or so, because Phil couldn't count. But that should have been where it could have stopped it, it could have ended, and he wouldn't have to act like a clown anymore putting a vest on. The vest streak would have ended, finally. But Phil wanted to keep it going, so he he gained the numbers to make it seem like it was 100 to keep the best streak going, and we reached to the 100 best streak. Now this is where Phil begins to basically kind of his own fashion, putting things under a, hey, I will do a live DSP tries it for what's we hit the 100 best streak. I will have a special surprise for hitting the best streak. So we come to the 100 best streak. What do I remember that then? I think I have to remember it very well and what he was doing that day. I have to remember what he was doing. What was he doing that day? There we go. What was he doing that day? So he revealed that he had two new vests. He had blue vests, and this was people's awards was him having two new vests. Then he had vest merch, and well, it's Phil, so I wouldn't really call it great merch. By the way, I think there was a bit of like a slight blowback to how people like. I think there was some people did not like didn't like this was their reward. I think at this point, this is Phil, so obviously didn't like the idea that this was our reward for hitting this festival, hitting the 100 best streak. So he finally did DSP tries it again, and he was complaining about the Starbucks coffee was good because it was too sugary. Man, I haven't had Starbucks. I haven't had Starbucks coffee. Like I've never had Starbucks coffee. I kind of do, cause there is like a barista area in Target in my shopping center. So I do kind of want it's not open back up now. It's open back up now, so I want to go there. I want to try that coffee out if it's still there, and I want to see how it is. Maybe his taste buds are so bad that he will complain something is too salty or too sweet. I think that was what was the other thing he ate? Let's see, what was it? What was the other thing he ate? What was the other thing he ate? It was the papadilla, I think it was. So yeah, he ate the papadilla. So he had the papadilla, and he had the papadilla, and he had the coffee from Starbucks. So, as I said, the coffee from Starbucks and the papadilla. That's what he had. And that's what he also started, he did the usual, victim stuff, and he was complaining about, the usual stuff that was going on. I think this was also the one where they revealed that letter, but I think that's a later. Was it the $100 best streak where he revealed that letter? Yeah, it was. It was a $100 best streak where he revealed this fan letter we had for 3 months, and we have all kind of deduced it because Phil Faker was just people who just follow him like a plague because he's a victim. He's acts like a victim. We caught on that something about that letter feels like Phil just wrote it himself because the person just sounds like him. Because it's Phil, so he wants to make himself sound like that. And that's Phil in a nutshell. Is just him doing this whole best streak. Not best streak. He made this whole letter and it just sounded like Phil using that letter to hide as the fact that it sounded like that, and him still act like a victim, and him trying to say he was crying, but he always how he talks about crying, like, oh, he had any kind of emotion, he says I'm crying, oh, here I'm crying like a baby. wow, that's kind of what he sounds like. And I'm not kidding on that one. Like Phil shows no real human emotion to anybody. Let me give you a good exact idea of Phil's human emotions after I get a little bit of coffee, some more coffee in my system. Phil shows no human emotion to others. For example, he felt nothing when he left. Like he was leaving all his friends, he's leaving everyone in Connecticut behind, including his parents. He showed nothing when people died, like his aunt, his friend, which he has once monetized the death of his friend. He monetized Etika's death. He monetized Kobe Bryant's death. He also monetized talking about T's death. Again, so Phil only sees other people's dramas as profit to him because he talks about he's not about drama. He's always in his own little bubble and stuff like that. But here he is talking about, you know, all this. And that's kind of where the 100th run was. I think that was it of the $100 best streak. And you know, as time went on, it started to become clear that Phil was getting tired of the best streak because this was the only thing that people cared about when it comes to him now. He begins to hate the very thing he created. So he really started to hate the best goal. And you could kind of see it, is that it would become the one thing that was popular over him. And then we come to the 200, we come to the 150 best goal. Don't worry, we haven't hit 200 yet. We will. And I'll tell you what he was going to do for that one. We're going to update his finances, another DSP tries to put on a paywall, other stuff, other dumb stuff that he's going to do. That isn't any real effort, and just proving it time and time again that this is literally what we are reduced to when it comes to his content, as Phil was really not adding anything new to it. But I digress on this one, but let's begin. So, I digress on that one, not begin, but you get what I mean. So, we got to the 150, and this one was another DSP tries it. Oh, this was also him ranting about Last of Us Part 2, and if you ever want to hear a dead horse, it's that game. I'm sorry, but at this point, it's like people are so upset about that game. Like, it is to the point that I need to literally live rent-free of watching everything Neil Druckmann does. Do people understand that is how weird that is? And this is coming from someone who follows DSP and Christian. And even I think that, and the thing is, I don't, here's the thing I do with situations that I observe, but I don't try to prod the horse nest or, you know, attack people, because there's no point of it. There's no point of doing it. I'm not saying people don't do it, but at this point, some people are literally like targeting the guy, like just because he made a game you don't like, is what it's reduced to. But he was spending, and yet Phil could explain to us what is the agenda. What is the agenda that Neil is pushing on him. And someone gave me a very interesting comment that makes so much sense. Let me look for it, actually. The person liked it, so give me a few seconds to let me look for it, because it's actually a good comment, which I'll read to you. So, bar my reading here, if I can find it. And like I said, this video is long anyway, so I was gonna probably have to look for this comment sooner or later. As I find it, as I kind of look for it, here it is. I found it. Here it is. This is what somebody on Twitter replied to me with. There's a segment of the gamer community, a very loud segment, that believes announcement LGBT people exist is equivalent to hostile takeover of the company by left-wing extremists pushing a rational agenda down our throats. It's stupid as hell, but oh well. And I think that's what Phil's issue is, that he does not want, he wants to pretend LGBT doesn't exist. And I think that's what he's kind of like, he is trying to ignore the fact that it exists, or he is that much showing how much of his homophobia that he's still like, this game eats at him more, but he has nothing to add. But really, Phil is just, I mean, currently Phil acts like the game hurts him because it hurts him. But I don't know. This is a man, like, it hurts him because he has to look at LGBT, something he obviously hates. And we're about to wrap this video up, so we're kind of just catching up currently to the current lore of this death streak. So let's continue to what he did for his 150 death streak. After ranting on and on about The Last of Us and still talking about it, and then, you know, his usual, he gets nothing out of romances, garbage, because the man is so insecure to his own relationship, it hurts. He does another DSP tries it, which another DSP tries it, and this ends with him eating the Apostle Whopper at a Whopper, and the thing is, like, he obviously has, we can say that he has food downstairs, and, you know, the thing we know about Phil is that he kind of obviously spent a lot of money, but make it seem like he only bought the thing he was eating. And the fact that he could have warmed up his meal says a lot about him. So that's kind of it. And here we come to currently. He's still complaining about people who care much about the best goal. He's already putting no effort into his next best goal. I need to look up where that is. So give me a moment before this video ends. Because I actually tagged it Theo with this one. Because asking him, like, so here's what Theo says that DSP is going to do for his 200 best streak. He's going to tell about his financial situation, literally asking people to pay for a drama segment. Pretty cool. He finally put a drama vlog behind a paywall. So yep, that's what Phil's about to do. He's gonna play a victim about his finances again. Well, that's kind of what we're reduced to now. So, final thoughts actually, because I think this time we wrapped this video up. This was actually surprisingly a long one to talk through, as this did pass the time, and it was mostly rambling, as I am kind of going, you know, off the cuff on this one. But really, there's not much to talk about that isn't, you know, it has been said by everybody else, and I wanted to kind of have my own spin on this without copying others. So I'm not sure on the situation, on where it's going to lead. But the fact that Phil is going to put a drama segment on a paywall for, is kind of the lowest thing he's done. But the thing we all knew was coming, because this was all was happening. Phil, after being a victim, and him have to write a letter to encourage himself, is pathetic. Him going on a long rant about Last of Us Part 2, and without explaining to us the agenda, is pathetic, and as much I really can't wait for people to finally give up talking about that game, where people don't have to spend hours upon their own lives talking about the game and wasting their lives. The game already sold people. The game is gonna also hit PlayStation hits. After that, you're just beating the dead horse. But I digress on this one. I'm not gonna do only video I'm ever gonna talk about Last of Us Part 2 is the situation with Lord Bailey and how this is not how the gaming community should act, if it's real or not. At the same time, we can't just label who's a victim or not. So, what's my thoughts now? Well, this is Phil finally found a way to make a system that works, I guess. But how long it's gonna last? How long these vestries are gonna last? Will these last for the rest of the year? How long do you think until Phil becomes so tired of his own gimmick he's gonna abandon it, like everything else he abandons? And how long is this gonna take until he becomes to hate the very thing he created? So I guess that's all. That's kind of all. So with that, the only thing I would say is, do I have anything else to talk? Anything else that I'm going to be doing so far? Well, I got my next upcoming Let's Plays I'm working on. I'm working on Royal. I'm working on when I get Licorice, I've been working on a playthrough. That's gonna be one of my main stuff. My main playthrough I'm gonna work on, and I do hope some people will come and check it out because I do want to do my best to help grow my channel. Until I can kind of get the peripherals to improve, I want to get a real mic. I want to get a Elgato. I want to do streaming on just YouTube because I have no plans of going to Twitch ever. I have my Twitch channel, but I'm not really gonna. It's gonna be only be used like to create like a long vlog, and I'm gonna put a long session to put on my channel. That's gonna be it. I have no plans that if I became an affiliate, it's just gonna be helping make extra money. That's all it's gonna ever be. I have no plans of fame. I have no plans to be popular. That's it. Nothing more and nothing less. That's all. I have no plans of being popular. There's no benefit to it. What's great about fame and popularity, where you're just gonna be the butt, you're just gonna be hated for everything you do? What's so great about it? Phil wants to talk about he was hot, why have popular, but now look at him. A loveless marriage, a loveless cat, which he finally shows, where he just doesn't he barely interacts with that cat. He obviously doesn't pick up that cat sometimes, or I don't think it cares about him. Where he still acting like Cat is too afraid to come on stream because the Detractors scared her away, the black man scared her away, and that's kind of it. So I mentioned before, I'm working on Royal currently. I'm working on the parts. I plan to remove those two parts I try to do on PlayStation, on live, on my YouTube. I'm gonna try to remove those videos, and I'm gonna replace them with actual parts. I'm gonna work on that soon, but bear with me on that one. It might take some time, so bear with me. So wait a little while before I ever do it, because it might take some time. I might have to restart. I'm gonna have to restart a little bit ahead of the game to kind of get to that point. And I kept on overriding files, so it might take some time. So with that, I guess it's time you're ready to sign off. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and comment. What do you think of Phil's Vestival and best streak? When do you think the best streak is gonna end? And how long do you think this is gonna last before Phil gets sick of it? And if you have any other DSP discussions that you want me to talk about, if you want me to talk about Phil trying to outlast evil, stuff like that, I wouldn't know. If you want me to talk about the topic, I don't mind. I don't know much about the whole Evo and whole FTC situation, so I wouldn't really have a leg to stand on that one. But with that, I guess it's time for me to sign off. So this is Rocks signing off. Enjoy the rest of this video and have a wonderful day. Take care.